Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez becomes the first Mexican to win the World Cruiserweight title, or a World Cruiserweight title. He widely outpointed Arsen Goulamirian. All three judges had it 118, 110. I think I had it 117, 111. Deserved win for the 32-year-old Southpaw from Mexico. I mean, terrific performance, actually. And impossible to believe that this guy was once a super middleweight champ, because he is huge, absolutely huge. And against Arsen Goulamirian, I mean, Goulamirian was undefeated in 27 wins, I think. I can't remember. Was it no defeats, no draws? Goulamirian had been pretty much inactive, but he had been inactive, to be honest with you, very inactive, because he hadn't fought in 2023, nor did he fight in 2020 or 2021 during that whole COVID farce, that lockdown nonsense. It was, yeah, it showed. It did show, because Goulamirian, he's from France. He's 36 years old now, so he's knocking on a bit. You want to keep reasonably busy. I mean, not too busy, but as you get older, because you want to give your body time to rest. But you need some activity, you know. And the inactivity did show. And the first couple of rounds, the Southpaw Ramirez, Goulamirian's orthodox, by the way, Southpaw Ramirez comes out, and he's fighting at a real high pace, you know, against a much bigger man, or you would assume is a much bigger man. And there was a couple of occasions in the first round where he landed like he normally does. I mean, he's a big lump, you know. He landed, and it was almost like, oh, hang on a minute, this guy's big. It's almost like he could feel the size in front, the size and the size of the opponent, and also the size of the task in front of him. But he kept going. But it did seem to me in the first couple of rounds as if Ramirez was fighting at this high octane pace, high tempo, but was being kind of forced to, because Goulamirian was stepping forward, and he was cutting off the ring quite well, but he wasn't firing many punches. He certainly lost the first round. I think I gave him the second because he landed a really good punch to the pit of the stomach, and that rattled Ramirez. And how often have we seen Ramirez rattled? Not very often. It did seem as if the weight of the punch from Goulamirian and the size and the physicality of him was initially forcing Ramirez to fight at a pace that perhaps he couldn't maintain, and that perhaps Goulamirian would wear him down. Well, that did not prove to be the case at all, because Ramirez, rather surprisingly to me, kept up the tempo. And Goulamirian did have little pockets of success where he was landing hard punches, heavy punches. But Zurdo took them. He took them well. I mean, and he carried on with this sort of box fighting style from the Southpaw stance. Very busy with the fists, was, you know, using the ring, boxing very, very well, but at the same time not running. When he had to exchange, he was exchanging. And he actually kept Goulamirian honest with not just the movement, but with the power. It wasn't a case of, you know, one guy sort of controlling the range either, because I think Zurdo was kind of happy up close and personal, or boxing. And Goulamirian simply didn't fire enough punches throughout the whole fight. I mean, he was basically outboxed, in a nutshell. But this is a terrific win for Ramirez. I mean, his only defeat was against Dimitri Bivol at light heavyweight. That shows how good Bivol is. Bivol is a hell of a fighter. I mean, I picked him to beat Zurdo on pure skill, and he did just that. And I picked Zurdo. Did I pick Zurdo to beat Goulamirian? I can't remember. I'm in one of those, you know, predictions leagues. I can't remember what I picked. I thought it would be a lot closer than it was, because this was easily a 10-2, or I had it 9-3 to Zurdo, but I thought it would be closer. And I wasn't ruling out Goulamirian as a winner, but the inactivity, it did stick in my mind. I thought, hang on a minute, I kind of favour Ramirez, but anyway, it was a good performance by Ramirez. Can he take over completely at, cruiserweight? I mean, he was fighting as well at the end of this fight as he was at the start of it, and being as busy, and his gas tank's fantastic, his output's excellent. He doesn't look particularly small for cruiserweight, looked slightly soft, maybe not cut, but cruiserweight, I mean, Jai Opataia, that would be a good fight, actually. I would favour Opataia, but Ramirez has got a terrific chin, and you need a terrific chin against Opataia. Ramirez against any of the British cruisers, I would beat him. I would pick him to beat Billam Smith. I'd probably pick him to beat Riakporhe. I'd definitely pick him to beat, well, supposedly he's a bridgerweight now, and he had Coley. I think Ramirez would stop at Coley. I think he'd stop Billam Smith. Riakporhe's the one with the best chance of beating Ramirez. I think Ramirez, I'll make him a slight favourite, but I could see Riakporhe giving Ramirez problems because of the style. But I still think Ramirez was a favourite and would probably outpoint Riakporhe, but that's just off the top of my head. I hadn't really thought about it much. But yeah, good fighter, Ramirez. I like watching him and all. He's very busy. He carries the weight very, very well. Like I say, Jesus Christ, how did he ever make super middle? Incredible. How did he make light heavy? He was huge against Bivol. Although Bivol is a small light heavies, he could probably make super middle at a push. Anyway, I'm digressing. As for Goulamirian at 36, this is probably the end. He's held that WBA belt for a long while, but at world level, maybe he'll get one more shot if he wants it. But there's way, way too much inactivity. You can't give up 3 of the last 5 years doing nothing. You know, you've got to fight at some point. I know as you get older, you fight less. And like I say, you know, your body appreciates that. But you've got to fight. You've got to have some sort of, the engine's got to be kept well oiled and running. And Goulamirian, it really showed in this fight that wasn't the case. But credit to Ramirez. He moves to 45 wins now, or 46 wins, I think it is now. 1 defeat. Goulamirian drops to 27-1. But it'll be interesting to see what's next for Zurdo. All right, then. Comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And also hit the like button. That'll be a big, big help. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Not a bad weekend's boxing, SA. We've had some good stuff. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.